Hey, this is me building a $2 million a year business in public. Last month, I made 170 grand, and next month, I'm going to do a lot more than that. I start every video by going over some Q&A to deliver value to the people that watch. It's also an engagement strategy, so the more people that comment on my shit, the higher it goes. Then I do some growth stats to cover more or less what a realistic look is at behind the scenes of a brand that is growing as quickly as me. Then finally, I do some actual work in front of you guys to show you guys what my work looks like and, how I manage my schedule and so on and so forth. So I got a very interesting video for you today on the live strategy side of things, because I just spent the last half an hour going through a bunch of my copycat channels. These are channels that people set up to more or less duplicate what I've been doing. And what's cool is, I've been focusing a lot on people that are very far in front of me and trying to figure out what they're doing that I might be able to co-opt. But there are a lot of people that are maybe a little bit smaller than me or a little bit further behind me that are doing the same to me. And I think there's a tremendous amount of alpha in looking back and saying, I wonder what those guys are doing that I might not be doing. So I have a bunch of interesting learnings, and I'll talk a little bit candidly about that. This is the main channel over here. We're almost at 82K subs. Blows my mind because just a couple days ago we were at 80K. And then this is my daily updates channel where I basically go top to bottom and then just answer a bunch of questions that you guys have. All right, so let's do it. First one's from Rodrigo Camps. To make a long story short, he's been following since 500 subs. He spent 6 years building his own businesses while optimizing his physique, health, and performance. That's why he's shirtless, as all super jacked dudes do. You must be shirtless 24/7. How do you build authority fast when your niche isn't just money proof? Well, the reason I'm making fun of you, Rodrigo, is because that's how I would do it. Okay, that's exactly how I would do it. Bear with me here. One of the best YouTube videos I've ever seen is "Getting Jacked Will Change Your Life." This one right over here, okay? One of the best YouTube videos I've ever seen, man. This one right here. And you can see a bunch of people have since tried to copy it. But this dude, Martel Metellus or whatever, and I think he's since just gone into being basically a pickup artist. But if you just want to focus on the the value of this guy's video, it's crazy. In 4 minutes and 52 seconds, he basically perfectly articulates why getting jacked will change your life. And it all boils down to, well, why are you listening to me right now? Because I'm jacked. It's hilarious. It's so meta. He's like, do you see how ripped I am right now? I could go to any store and buy a $5 t-shirt and look better on me than Warren Buffett buying an $8,000 one. And I'm like, holy crap, the guy's right. He's huge. Okay. So I'm saying this because, dude, your proof is in the body, right? It's in the stuff that you've built. If you have an impressive looking body, if you have some impressive metrics, if you could deadlift, 5-6 plates or something like that, that's the proof. That's what you do. So it doesn't actually matter about making money on the internet. The reason why I always front load all my videos with, hey, I made money on the internet, that's because I'm selling to people that want to make money on the internet. And so that is something that's very important to them. But dude, if you're selling to a bunch of people that want to have a great body, then just show off your great body, So I don't know if you want to call it dangling the carrot, but this is how it works in any industry. If you are an incredible horse rider, equestrian, I don't know what those are called, but if you're an incredible rider of horses and you are trying to teach people how to ride horses better, man, first few seconds of your videos, you riding a horse, way better than anybody ever could. If you are a League of Legends player and you are coaching people on how to be League of Legends players, you make the first few clips of your videos all about all the great accomplishments you've done in League of Legends, all the cool video game plays that you've made and all that stuff, right? It doesn't matter what niche we're talking about here. You just do the same thing. You showcase things that are valuable to the target audience that you are going after, okay? And in your case, you're going after not money proof, you're going after how to build a high performing body. So hopefully that makes sense. Also, if you ever want to dial in your health performance and get jacked on the side, I got you. Thank you, man. No, just kidding. Let's put that away. I don't want anybody to make fun of me. I'm all good for now. I very much appreciate you, though. Okay, Brooks McMahon said, W9 for tech company is specific niche. I'm starting a AAA in the same industry. Employer doesn't do AI automation, but it's a traditional digital marketing agency, PPC, SEO, Facebook, yada, yada. I have relationships. I can sell in this niche. I see a huge gap to fill in an opportunity I can sleep on. So what Brooks is asking is, can you speak to any legal implications of starting a company in the same industry as my W9 or strategy to keep my W9 until I grow the agency enough to leave it? Well, I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. Some companies aren't going to care. So your company may be one of those companies. Just not going to care. So you're just worrying about something that doesn't really matter. Some companies will care, but just don't blast it from the heavens with one of those Viking horn things, and you're probably fine. Make an Upwork profile, but limit the visibility so it's not on Google. So when HR Googles you, they don't see AI automation specialist, right? Perfectly fine. Basically, the point I'm making is just don't make this your whole personality, and you should be all right. Many people run businesses while also having a 9 to 5. In fact, like that's a big chunk of the people that are in Maker School. Okay, Shark Swayze says, save this video to my cold email playlist. You speed up the audio in certain parts of your main channel, but it's never. No, I do not. Videth6362 says, a lot of your vids are so helpful. Started up recently, still working on my first client, doing the push every day. Been in the corporate business for decades, wanted to start my own. It's been a huge thing for me with trying to do something on my own moving forward. Keep it up. Thank you, bro. Key Workflow says, right on time. I'm a quarter of the way through Upwork vid from 8 months ago. Taking the plunge, putting myself out there. Hell yeah, big ups to Key Workflow. Tom says, just finished watching your Upwork video from 8 months ago. Wow, interesting. That must be blowing up. Hell yeah, guys. I use the Elgato teleprompter. It's about $250, $300 or something, and it includes a built-in monitor, which is cool. Spicy Caterpillar. Dead Thunder 11 says, what's the best laptop I can buy for AI systems? Well, it really depends. Do you want to like host AI systems on your computer? Like I don't really talk about any of that and I don't really show people how to do that. So maybe if you're motivated to do that, just know that that's not what we're doing here. We don't do any like computer side hosting on bare metal on your own devices. What we do is everything's cloud hosted. So the actual performance of your laptop doesn't really matter, to be honest. Obviously, get a good enough laptop that you could do things like record a Loom video without it shaking and stuttering. You know, if you want to do like videos like I am, then make good enough, get yourself a good enough computer that like, you know, you can use a sufficient bit rate that like your face looks nice when you stream like I am. But honestly, I got to be real. I'm not the best guy to ask for this stuff. Hopefully provide some context there. Ronald J. Jabun, hopefully I'm not butchering this, says to go through all the comments, you could create an automation that does the following. Go through all the comments. Well, that's helpful. I'm just kidding. Filter out comments which are appreciation, thanks, in a one page in a Google Sheet. Have a different filter and page for the longer, more in-depth ones. With the system, you can glance and go through the more nuanced questions, having a place to go through and show gratitude for the people showing you appreciation. That's interesting. I think there'd probably be some marginal productivity gains there. AVL says, haven't gotten any clients, but still watching and implementing. Let's go. Master of Gameplay says, notice you're moving more towards N8N content. You also mentioned in the past on a few of your earlier videos that most of make rebuilds on N8N is better. Would like to know your thoughts on both as I'm constantly facing issues on what platform to use. Great process so far. I'm starting from the beginning of your videos, but I'd pop a comment in to hopefully get concurrent answers. Yeah, for sure. Great idea. I do have a video that explains exactly my thoughts on all of this. So just for brevity, I'm going to go make versus N8N and then just type in Nick here. Just Google this. And then I got a blog post on my blog. Then I also, wow, you can just get that with Nick, huh? That's cool. Then I also have a video over here where I go into detail, okay? So check that out for sure. And then if you still have questions on this, let me know. I'm more than happy to answer any specific ones. But those are my thoughts on it. Make is better for beginners, to make a long story short. Therein says, I type so fast and flawlessly. He didn't flast. I speak so fast and flawlessly that I didn't realize okay is a common mispunch for one. Is it really? Oh. How is that? Those keys aren't even... All right, maybe it is. Shashanka says, what camera do you use to record your videos? It is a Sony A7C. Neon says, how about a video on day one, setting up an actual business in 2025? I guess it's slightly different depending where you are in the world. Nobody has covered this yet, and it's a pretty important step. Keep on keeping on. Well, I actually cover all of this in Make Money with Make. We actually have the whole like detailed business setup thing where I run through exactly how I do it. So I think I mentioned this actually in my previous video, but there's like incentives that you could use to sign up to business registration platforms like Stripe Atlas. You can actually get a lot done very quickly. And then you can get coupons and discounts and aggregators to sign up to businesses and then actually have banks pay you for it. Pretty cool system. I mean, it's not a ton of money, but if you're a beginner, obviously it makes things a lot easier. Okay. Then Raj Singh says, hey Nick, how do I find coaches that are already making good amounts of money and would need automation services? Context. Yesterday I was talking to somebody in the agency space to gain a little bit of clarity over what niche I should target. And he told me it's hard finding coaches that need automation services. He really can't find out how much they're making. When I asked him about and how agencies and consulting firms, he said same things applies in this industry because everyone's trying to open a one service business. Thanks for all the awesome content. Listen, I gotta be real. I don't really trust anybody's opinion these days because business is just such a... I mean, there's so many new entrants in business. Everybody's trying to be an entrepreneur these days. I can't tell you how many people speak so confidently that you can't go into that niche. You can't go into that niche. That niche is dead. Anybody that goes into that niche is a loser. And then I go into that niche and then I make $500,000. Like Upwork's a really good example. I can't tell you how many people were like, dude, you're doing Upwork? That's not a real business. What are you, crazy? Dude, you can't do it because my uncle got a $30 project one time. You know, it's like, okay, why don't you just try it first and then we'll make our decisions afterwards, right? So don't listen to the haters, I guess is the point I'm making. You can absolutely get clients in whatever niche. What it is, okay, is there's just a sliding scale of difficulty. And for some niches, it will take a more nuanced approach to get the same benefit or ROI that you would in other niches. Some niches out there are like a hammer No, for some niches, your lead gen is like a hammer. Everything's a nail, right? Everything you do, just simple, it's easy, it works. Maybe you don't get a crazy ROI, but it's easy. Other niches, there's incredible ROI, but it's buried under a couple of layers of nuance. Maybe you need to source leads using like a specifically different way, or maybe there's a directory somewhere which has a bunch of very high intent leads that you wouldn't find in another niche. So yeah, that's probably how I would do this. Or I guess help you find the niches to target. So yeah, how do I find coaches that are already making a good amount of money? To be honest, I just talk to all coaches, and then the people that are making a good amount of money and see the value of your service would self-select. I wouldn't try and qualify ahead of time. I would just qualify at the end, the second I get the response. Get them on a call. That's the most important thing for you. Even if the calls aren't very qualified, just get on as many of these as possible. You'll start seeing patterns in the way that people respond to your questions and stuff. Okay, What's My Land says, would any like-minded people want to join forces? Let us join forces. Yes, like Voltron. Speaking of Upwork is making it hard for freelancers. They literally make you pay to find a job, make you pay if you actually get the job. That is true. But if you think about it, that is the value that Upwork provides, right? They don't make it, they actually make it easy for you to find a job. You're paying for the ease with which you could find listings that include an audience of people that have already determined that they need your service. They're just trying to determine who to give the money to. That's actually very valuable, right? Because they cut 90% of the work down. Yours says, on the idea about how to answer 500 comments a day, that'd be interesting. I guess it's very easy for you. It should be. Fetch YouTube comments, feed it in AI, pass some history data to AI, have it prioritize some kind of P1, P2, and P3, where P1's a fresh new comment or something new, P2 is something you've already done, and P3 is something you've answered already. You start with P1 on the video, and then for P2 and P3, in the last 5 minutes of the video, direct them to the right resource, either with email or comments with a link or something. This way you still have ideas to answer within video time capacity. I'm hoping this would help. I think this is a great idea. I will say this just delays the problem a little bit, because now I'm, I am giving AI a lot of autonomy over determining what is the important question, to be real. So I don't know if I like this, but I am just delaying, in this case, because eventually everything will be a P1 question, right? Or eventually the number of P1 questions will be bigger than just the total comments that I'm getting today when I'm running into this issue. Mr. DeSato, or Mrs. Sedato, he said this twice. So I'm just going to remove this other one. I really appreciate everything you do. You're a real G. Can you quickly break down what you would do with $50 now to start an AI automation business? Honestly, it's the same thing that I would do with $100. I have a video that I published a few days ago, well, maybe a week and a half ago, specifically about how I would start an automation agency with $100. So I'm just going to point you towards this one, because basically everything, man, do I look bloated. Basically everything in this video applies to that. It's just, instead of you, I guess what I'm trying to say is there are cheaper alternatives to a lot of the stuff here. Cheaper alternatives to a lot of the stuff that I talked about here. Okay. So yeah, just for the sake of not having to redo it, that's what I'd recommend. Nick in a Parallel Universe. Who's this? Ooh, handsome fella. Reminds me of myself. Nice hair. If I grew in my hair, it actually looks something like that. I've done that a couple times. Alternate universe. Bro, this is me from a few weeks ago. No, I'm just kidding. So he made 2.4 mil with his first app. Well, that's cool. I don't know who this is, but I know who Brett Malinowski is, because I sent him a DM on WAP a couple days ago, or a couple weeks ago. Yeah, cool podcast, right? Yeah. I remember watching one of these. Well, maybe. Yeah. Maybe me in an alternate universe. I'm not that good looking. Come on. Okay. Mark Zemansky says, desperate need the details on your teeth whitening strategy, brother. Sure. You end up publishing that pod, bro? I don't remember if I've actually taken a look at this. I do not know if that is online. I'm not sure if it is. Maybe if I type Nick. No, I don't know if it is. I'm not sure if you're editing or what's going on. I started a podcast and this is the first episode. Maybe is that me? Am I somewhere in here? I don't know. Let's see. Oh, no, it's just you. Okay. No, couldn't make it on the pod. I wasn't cool enough. For context, Mark invited me on a call once, or maybe I invited him on a call, or maybe I reversed him. And I said, you should invite me on a call. We had a pretty good call. So teeth whitening, I just do Crest white strips every year. It's not the best for your teeth, so you got to be careful with it. Otherwise, your teeth get really sensitive. Okay, DMunich45 says, how do you build an automation for a weekly newsletter that aggregates trending news bits from 10 different RSS feeds and generates newsletter content for a format that includes 5 sections? I can run you through exactly what that would look like. Well, you didn't specify the platform, right? Let's just talk a little bit, or let's just explore a little bit. So the make.com has a watch RSS feed items module. You could also use a service that basically creates an RSS from multiple different ones. There's a service that basically just like adds, it might just be called RSS.app. Yeah, I think it's RSS.app. You can actually like merge a bunch of RSS feeds or something. Anyway, the point I'm making is what you do is you could do that, or you could have like multiple RSS feeds that feed in with like an N8N input. Okay, so like imagine this is like RSS feed number 1. This is number 2. This is number 3. This is number 4. What do you say? 5. This is number 5. You have some different data transformations you need to make to each, obviously, but then you just merge all of them into the same place, right? So this goes there, that's going to go there, that's going to go there, that's going to go there, and then that's going to go there. Now you have data that's like either standardized or in like a similar format or whatever. Now you can actually do something with it. And then from there, what you would do is you would just add an OpenAI module. So I'd probably do the messaging model, and then I would collect the data in here, stick it in here, and then basically say, hey, you can do this in a million and one ways, right? You could actually have it like access the page, scrape the entire content of the article or the piece, and then use that to rephrase the thing. I actually created one that does like, I guess I can't just write that. Oh, wow, I literally can. That's pretty funny. YouTube newsletter Nick. If I just type YouTube newsletter Nick, do I actually pop up? No, I don't. I lied. Okay, I guess I eventually do. That's really funny. There's a system that I built that generates newsletters right here, AI asset-based lead gen system. It basically does everything from this point onwards, okay? Make.com doesn't have the ability to have multiple triggers, unfortunately. What you could theoretically do is you could instead change this up a little bit. So what you do is you'd set, I don't know, one variable here, let's say. Actually, what you might want to do is just go parse JSON. Okay, and then what you do is you just generate multiple items. Let me just make sure that this works. It's been a while since I've run this module. No, I think I need to. Do I wrap this in quotes? I don't even remember, man. Been too long here. Let's run this puppy. Ignore warnings. Yeah, no. So you can't do that. Sorry. I don't know. Just like have an element called array. Okay. And then wrap this. Then run this. Then this array is what you'd feed into an iterator. Now, what this array would actually be is it'd be rssfeed1.com, okay? Here would be rssfeed2.com. Here would be rssfeed3.com. Now, what you're doing is you have an array with 3 items. You feed these items in here. And now what you're doing is you're actually iterating through 3. And then what you do is you take these, feed this into the retrieve RSS feed items right over there. And now what you're doing is you're actually pulling up whatever the maximum number of returned items is that you want per RSS feed. And then you can proceed with the rest of the flow. Okay. And then, you could like aggregate if you wanted to after. So as you can see, the data structures are a little bit different. The way that you format the flows are a little bit different, but the data structure ends up being the same. You end up with like an aggregated thing of all the RSS feed details. Okay, so let me do some brand stats here. I think I've delivered enough value for all of you at this point. So let's do some brand stats here. I've justified my own existence. The main channel growth has been pretty wonky. I've probably grown a little bit more than that now. So yeah, there you go. I'm going to paste this in. 846 in the last 24 hours. My Instagram, on the other hand, is now at 113,165. And then my daily updates channel, which is right over here, is at 4,220. That's pretty chunky, huh? Looks like I grew 83 yesterday, 83 today. The fraction, a proportional amount that I've grown has gone down because my total follower count has gone up. Pretty neat, huh? Pretty excited. Okay, so let's actually get into the bulk of what I wanted to do today. So I went through a bunch of my copycat channels. Now, if you have made a channel very similar to me and you're duplicating everything that I'm doing, that's good. I actually really like that. I appreciate that. Keep doing what you're doing, because I find it extraordinarily, one, motivating and flattering that there are a bunch of people that are doing the exact same thing that I'm doing. They're obviously so inspired and think there's such an opportunity that they're doing it themselves. But 2, one of you guys inevitably does something that's cool and a little bit different from what I do. And then when that happens, I get to look at you and then I just get to copy you right back. And then I get to, I think I have like more consistency than most people. So I get to take that and then I have bigger distribution and bigger top of funnel. So I get to do it. And everybody's like, oh, Nick came up with that idea in the first place. I know, cheeky, right? But that's how it works. So here is where most people do. Okay. Or maybe I'll just say like, this is you, right? You are over here on the scale of progress. So what you do is you kind of look over and you see a bunch of like really big guys. So, I mean, like I'm nowhere near as big as Alex Hormozy, but a lot of people are looking at Hormozy and they're like, wow, what the hell is Alex doing? Right. Or maybe, you know, you're looking at some of the smaller AI automation guys, you know, you're looking at Nick Saraev. Or maybe I was called a discount Iman Gadzi in one of my recent videos. That was hilarious. So maybe you're following the non-discount version of Iman Gadzi, right? And you say, holy crap, these guys are so much further ahead than I am on the progress scale. I'm not equating myself to this guy at all, by the way. He's probably over here. Let's just, before I get into some hot water, he's over here. You know, I'm over here. This is a logarithmic scale. But you're looking over and you're like, man, what are the tactics that this guy's using? I'm going to copy all that, right? You end up copying it, and then like your channel grows as a result, or your business grows as a result. And that's fine, okay? But what you're actually sleeping on is there may be 3 guys ahead of you, okay? But there's actually 1 million guys behind you. 1 million. There's way more people behind you than there are ahead of you, okay? And because, I mean, you know, they're a little bit worse at what they do, obviously, because they're beginners, okay? But because of just the laws of large numbers, they're copying you and stuff. You've completely ignored them. Well, guess what? If you just look back, like these guys have gems, man. These guys have like diamonds, okay? This is going to be me trying to draw a diamond. That actually kind of looks pretty cool. All right, not bad. I'm getting better at drawing here after drawing for the better part of 6 months. So I've seen people do some really cool things. And I've also seen a bunch of the ways that people are phrasing their content. So there are a bunch of people out here that are doing like daily updates like me. And this has been really beneficial because I'm pumping out a lot of content objectively. And I'm obviously pretty good at what I do. And, you know, I'm like a big authority now. But there are a couple of like strategic or tactical changes that I'm going to make to the way that I do my channel. Probably not tomorrow because I have a pretty busy day. But I'm going to sit down, write it out, and then I'm going to start implementing it to do things in such a way that like represent my value a little bit better. I was watching this one guy whose name I'm not going to name because I don't want to name any names here. But first of all, his thumbnails were substantially higher quality than mine. Second of all, they were also significantly lower effort than mine recently. Third of all, he had some like minor like he basically had like a template that he was repeating at the beginning of his videos. So just like mine, hey, I made 170K whatever the other month. Except every single time he did his videos, they were different. Like it's the same template, it's the same idea, but then the intros are different. So every time somebody comes on the content, it's actually like something different. And so old time viewers get more hooked on that stuff and you have higher watch times on average. At least this is my thinking, because they don't think you're just doing the same thing you've been doing before. Another thing I've been seeing is some of these guys that are, you know, starting to take off now, following in my footsteps. They're doing, in addition to like, well, they don't really do Q&A. Like my benefit's the Q&A because I have a bunch of crystallized knowledge, right? What they do is they find some topic today, some news thing, and then they talk about it really briefly. So I can weave that in super easily because you guys obviously respect my opinion. And you think that like my take on a topic is going to be better than on average most other people's takes, right? So I'm going to get to do that. Well, now every video looks so fundamentally different because now I'm talking about a news thing, which is relevant and it's new and it's topical, right? A couple of other things as well. There's some minor like presentation things that they do during the presentation that I've noticed, which are cool. A lot of people are on Excalibur now, like a surprising number. I should really get an affiliate code with those guys, man. Probably print. But a lot of people are using the same tool I'm using. So I'm gonna look at some of the ways that they're using those tools and see if maybe I can do them a little bit better. What else? I think I talked about the branding and the packaging a little bit. That's cool. Some people have different variants of how they're pitching and branding their channels. That's a big thing. Like, you know, instead of like daily updates, they might call it something else. So I like that. Some minor things just with like the visuals. So like some people have better camera layouts than I do, or much farther worse camera layouts than I do. A lot of people are now copying the OBS layout where you kind of have my face down here. And then, you know, I have like this kind of, what does this look like? Screen studio, right? A lot of people are now copying this. I was probably the first creator, at least in this space, to like actually make one of these setups, and I'm seeing a lot of people do it. But some people are doing them better than me, so I could make mine look a lot better. You notice how on the left-hand side of the screen here, I can't move my mouse here because it's part of the background. But on the left-hand side, you know, it's like kind of way bigger than the top and the bottom. Right, top and the bottom have really tiny margins. That's because I'm on my laptop monitor, and it just looks dumb, to be honest. These two should be proportional, and then the screen would be bigger, and people would be able to see more. I think I could resize my face as well. There are a couple different like sizing formats. You know, if you look at my face here, okay, a lot of people. No, I can't do that, unfortunately. They have different aspect ratios on the camera. So if you think about it, there's so much dead space to the left and to the right of me, right? Just trying to look here. There you go. It's cool. It's framed nicely and it's landscape or whatever. But do you really need to see the sides of this, or could you realistically like cut me off right around here? Well, now I'm one, it's different. It's a little bit harder to do. And then two, I'm blocking less of the screen, which is what people care about. And then three, I can also make my face bigger. When my face is bigger, proportionally, you see me more and you probably engage with me more. Oh man, so many little tiny hacks. It's crazy. And I didn't get any of this stuff from the people that are further ahead than me. I got this stuff all from people that were further behind me. So anyway, I guess what I'm trying to say is don't keep your eye on the guys behind you because they help push you. It's the guys in front of you that have the headwinds that obviously help you slot into place. But definitely don't discount, the people that are behind you attempting to do similar types of content. Okay, so yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. Really stoked about all this. Yeah. Oh, also some ways that I'm seeing people combine the like anime stuff is really cool. Like one thing that I believe my audience is super technical, right? Let's be real. Most people here are like kind of like, we're all freaking nerds at the end of the day. So I have a couple things that endear me to nerds quite a bit. Like I'm a huge anime fan. I watch anime all the time. Anytime I have free time, if I'm like consuming a medium, like 70% of the time it's anime or some sort of like animated thing. Because I think you can just explore ideas so much better in like an animated format. Obviously this is associated with like the Japanese weeaboo culture where like everybody's just like super nerdy and they're losers and they, I don't know, neck beards and they never leave the house. But that actually endears me to a lot of people that watch. Well, I saw this one guy that was like using anime profile pics, or not profile pics, but anime backgrounds and all this stuff. And I was thinking like, well, that's brilliant. Like I could endear myself way more to people if I actually put my hobbies and like my interests out there, right? Because most people are like, oh, he's just some influencer. He doesn't have the same hobbies as me. It's like, no, man, I actually do. Like I played video games back in the day quite profusely. Obviously, you guys know a lot about that. Like I freaking get down with some anime from time to time. I do a bunch of stuff that nerds do. So just the branding and positioning and packaging. Anyway, so cool. I'm really excited to try and implement some of that in both my daily updates channel and my main channel. And yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know where I'm at with that. Thanks so much for watching. Looking forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. If you guys like this sort of stuff, definitely check out Maker School, makemoneywithmake.com, where I do Q&A and Loom videos and actual like daily coaching every 24 hours at minimum. Otherwise, keep watching this YouTube channel, liking, commenting, subscribing, get me to the top of the algo, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Bye.